see the Werner Herzog.
Yes, Werner Herzog.
I recently heard about the time he ate a shoe.
He did.
And I was fascinated by that.
It was a wager with Errol Morris.
Yeah. They had a chef come in and prepare, and all of the links that they went to make the shoe taste good.
You don't want him to die as a result of this goof.
That's commitment.
Sure.
If you say you're going to do something, you do it.
Herzog was really full of piss and vinegar when he was a young man. I saw a talk that he was giving. If you want to make films and don't have the money, just go out and steal.
Yeah.
Steal the cameras. It's like, okay, bud.
Yeah.
You might get in some trouble for that.
Yeah.
If it weren't the 70s. Welcome to the basement, Jason Stevens.
Thanks for having me.
Do you know what movie is in this envelope?
Absolutely not, Matt. It's top secret.
Yes. Well, before I reveal it to you, before we watch it over there on the old leather couch, I just want to ask you, what do you think of these cameras? Pretty fancy, huh?
Yeah.
And also, when this episode goes out on the internet, it can be streamed all over the world.
All over the world.
Can you believe it?
It's a miracle of modern technology.
I know, it's a lot different than what we used to have to put up with.
Yeah.
We used to have to buy DVDs, and before DVDs...
VHS.
Videotapes. That's right. Get ready for some videotape, because tonight I'm going to be showing you sex, lies, and videotape.
All right. Awesome. I have never seen this.
Yes!
Which is rare for a film from this year.
Released in 1989, SLAV was the directorial debut of Steven Soderbergh, who also wrote the screenplay and edited the film. It stars James Spader, Andie MacDowell, Peter Gallagher, and Laura San Giacomo. The film won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and in 2006 it was added to the United States Library of Congress's National Film Registry, having been deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
I heard that Lindsey Graham rented it from the library, and then he didn't return it. The Library of Congress.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah,
I'm nervous.
He's got lots of overdue fines on Archie Bunker's chair and things like that. That's at the Smithsonian. It's a different thing. I have a gift for you here in this box. It may look like a videotape, but it is not.
The Big Movie Quiz. See, look at that. It says the Big Movie Quiz, just like a tape.
Those labels we used to have to put on.
Yeah, and you'd always put them on crooked. You could never get them quite right.
No.
Then there'd be like a wrinkle in it. You'd try to smooth it out. Shall I give you a question?
Sure.
Comedy classics is the category. What is the name of the song that Tom Cruise's character dances to in Risky Business?
Old Time Rock and Roll.
Old Time Rock and Roll by
Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Dirt Band. So set up your tripod and hit record, because we're going to go to the old leather couch and watch a little piece of something called Sex, Lies, and Videotape. It's all in lowercase. The title has a self-esteem problem.
Yeah. That's how I was in high school.
Constantly running at highway speeds.
Staring directly at the ground.
Yeah. Sex, Lies, and Videotape begins with Anne Mullaney talking to her therapist. She doesn't like the garbage.
I started imagining like a garbage can that produces garbage. And it doesn't stop. It just keeps producing garbage.
Ah, Twitter.
And, you know, what would you do if, you know, to try to stop something like that?
Well, you could rebrand it, call it X.
That barge was stranded and, you know, it was going around the island and nobody would claim it.
Garbage barges.
Meanwhile, her husband, John Mulaney, not that one, he's a big shot business boy. Peter Gallagher looks like he's half vampire, half werewolf.
Yeah.
He's a real big shot. He's got a corner office overlooking the bayou.
Yeah, on Tuesdays you can see the garbage barge from there.
And he's having an affair with Cindy. Who's Cindy, you may ask? Why, that's Anne's sister.
No, we should quit that bartending job of yours.
Why?
I don't know. Paying your bills is kind of dumb.
I must admit, the idea of doing it in my sister's bed gives me a perverse thrill.
One of the things that she covers in therapy is a house guest that her husband has sprung upon her. An old friend from college named Graham.
Graham Dalton shows up at the house.
In a convertible. Was it a convertible? No, not with that hair.
Yes?
Ma'am, my name is Graham Dalton.
John Mulaney, please, this is his wife.
What is it, Anne? I'm very busy right now. How could you call me on the phone?
Likability's a prison.
How long has it been since you've seen John?
9 years.
9 years?
Yeah, I was surprised he invited me to stay here.
Yeah, he called me on the phone and he was banging some chick in the background and she kept screaming, "I'm not your wife." It was weird. They have dinner.
I'm sorry, I'm crying again, I'm sorry. You gonna see Elizabeth?
Who's Elizabeth?
Macho Man Randy Savage's wife.
She's kind of his manager, kind of his girlfriend, kind of both.
He's got one key for his car. Doesn't want more keys.
If I get an apartment, that's 2 keys. If I get a job, you know.
If I become a janitor, that's like 25 keys. If I'm a drug dealer, I have 1 key. I get caught, I go to prison for life.
In order to fulfill Cindy's wish of having sex in her sister's house, John suggests that his wife take his friend Graham out looking at apartments.
How about tomorrow?
That'd be great.
I'll take you to see the garbage barge.
You know, the rent on that garbage barge is very reasonable.
Yeah. Your address changes by the hour, but no keys.
Cindy, John, meet me at my house in exactly 1 hour.
Hats off, dance off. Thanks for taking that plant off of me. I've been struggling for hours.
Anne and Graham look at apartments. He finds one, and then they go and have lunch.
Graham explains that he is impotent, and Cindy's very curious. Not Cindy. Anne is very curious about his impotency.
Anne is inexplicably drawn to Graham. I think that Graham has discovered something important. You tell a woman you're impotent, and she's instantly interested.
Yes.
Oh, God, that's what I need. I need a little, but nobody knew. I mean...
Someone is interrupting my potency session. Anne goes to visit Graham herself. She sees all these weird videotapes.
All the videotapes have women's names on them.
Who's Donna?
She said, and tried to look the other way. Who's Donna? She said.
Oh, you went out with her?
No, she told me about the time she touched herself on an escalator. It was in a Marshall Fields.
Do you like my decor? It's early Mercator. I tape women talking about sex and masturbation. And it helps me in my impotency problem. Because he's incapable of establishing intimacy with a woman on a physical level. So he does it through the videotape, and that's how he feels satisfaction.
There are some phone conversations, and...
What do you mean he doesn't want me to come over? Did you tell him about me?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Can we talk later? I'm chopping up these phallic vegetables.
Anne gives Cindy Graham's address, and she goes and sees him.
Hi.
Hello.
Anne is my sister. Sisters talk. You can imagine the rest.
So you tell a woman that you're impotent.
Yeah.
She becomes fascinated with you, and she sets you up with home visit booty calls.
Yeah.
I'm going to start telling more people I'm impotent.
Yeah.
Why don't you let me tape you?
Doing what?
Doing nothing. I want to tape you to the wall with duct tape.
Would anyone else see the tape?
Absolutely not. Nobody else sees the tapes.
Not until the invention of something called the internet, but you don't need to think about that right now.
No. But your grandkids will be really disturbed.
Do I sit or stand?
What do you prefer?
I prefer handstands because I'm really good at them. I can also do cartwheels and somersaults. And I want you to record all of these things.
Getting some Frost Nixon vibes here.
If only they explored these things. Well, the last time I masturbated, I was in the Lincoln bedroom. And it was great. She tells him sexy stories of all sorts.
When did you finally see a penis?
When I was 14.
It was in the lost and found box at church.
Cindy tells Graham that she's having an affair with Anne's husband, John.
You think I'm pretty?
Ugh.
You're just an errand boy sent by the grocer to collect the bill.
It's my Brando. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Marlon Brand don't.
Is it just me? Or can you smell what that bar smells like?
Yeah. I smell cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarettes and booze.
Spilled beer, yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, you.
Hi, you. John keeps putting off meetings and rescheduling meetings. He's overconfident about this Kirkland account.
Late at night, Anne gets up. She's starting to get suspicious about John. She thinks he's having an affair.
I called you last Monday. They said you weren't in. Do you remember where you were?
On Monday?
Monday? I don't remember. I remember where I was on Saturday. I remember where I was on Sunday.
Are you having an affair?
Jesus Christ.
How did you know? I thought I was so smart about it.
I don't want you to lie.
Listen, I have a long day of dodging appointments tomorrow. I need my sleep.
I told you I got those Kirkland people coming tomorrow.
And I'm going to cancel the meeting at the last minute. And subsequently lose the Kirkland account.
We shouldn't not ever talk. Just don't give me conjecture and intuition.
Yeah, let me get on with my gaslighting and back to sleep.
But he convinces her that he's not. John talks to Cindy. She tells him all about her recording session with Graham.
What if this tape gets into the wrong hands?
The Iranians.
These tapes could show up anywhere.
Anywhere. A Library of Congress.
They won't. I trust him. A hell of a lot more than I trust you.
What? We with the what?
Anne is cleaning the house as she is wont to do, and she finds an earring. This is proof of the affair.
Now she'll spend the rest of the movie searching for the one-eared woman.
Anne goes to talk to Graham. You knew about that affair, didn't you? Cindy told you. Yes, of course I knew. I wasn't going to tell you because it's not my place.
That's not my kink. Telling people about what's going on is not my kink. Listening to what's going on is my kink.
John's a bastard.
John the Bastard. I played him on stage. You know? Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Well, why don't you record me? I can give sexy talk to the camera, too.
So what do you have to do to get ready?
White balance.
Load a tape and turn on the camera.
He doesn't even do white balance.
No, he doesn't. He probably doesn't have a folder with notes in it like professionals do.
Where do you get your money from?
Selling these tapes.
And what are you going to do when this money runs out?
Make more tapes.
Anne opens up to Graham, and
She is a new woman. Brave and bold.
I want out of this marriage.
you've been talking to Graham, haven't you? Did he put you on one of his tapes? Yes, he did. John flies off in a rage.
Gets in his car, his beautiful Volvo, and he drives over there, walks right into Graham's apartment.
He beats Graham in the face.
Shoves Graham outside. He didn't really shove him. He kind of carried him like you would a toddler. Anyway, he gets him outside. He locks the door behind him. And then he sits down and watches his wife Anne's tape.
Why don't we stop?
No. I don't want to stop.
Yet you seem to be stopping. We go back in time. We see the session in person.
Can you do that? Give a woman an orgasm?
One time, when I used to be really into D&D, I met this girl and I told her all about it. I just told her everything about D&D that I could think of, and I gave her a boregasm.
I used to express my feelings non-verbally.
Like Coco, the talking gorilla.
And often scared people.
Like Harambe, the gorilla. Turns out part of Graham's intimacy problem is that he had a bad breakup with a woman named Elizabeth all those years ago in college. And that's been kind of hounding him this whole time. They connect. They kiss even on the couch and do hand and face touching. Oh, your hands smell like tacos. We come back to the present. John has finished watching the tape. Oh, he's flabbergasted. That was brilliant. The man is a genius.
He goes outside and tells Graham that he slept with Graham's girlfriend Elizabeth many years ago.
And I'm glad I did it, and I'd do it again.
Graham goes back into his apartment.
He takes all of his videotapes and he breaks them apart and he smashes his camera to pieces.
He shoves it all in a box. He throws it out.
Some time passes. We can tell this because John is wearing very different fashions.
Work is critical.
Mr. DeForest would like to see you in his office.
All right, in a minute, I'm on with a client.
I'm currently cosplaying as Sonny Crockett and Orville Redenbacher simultaneously.
He's at work and things aren't going well for him because he's lost that Kirkland account.
You know, I spend a lot of money in here. I should at least know your name.
Anne goes to see Cindy. She's a working girl now that she's single, and she and Cindy seem to be mending fences a little bit.
It's a nice plant. Looks like a tablecloth.
He's a ghost. That's what's going on here. He's a ghost.
I like her. She's a very nice girl. Very nice.
I wish at that moment an old-fashioned Wurlitzer jukebox would just fall from the sky and crush that guy. It's got to be an old-fashioned Wurlitzer. Later on, we find out that Anne and Graham are now together.
They snuggle up on the porch and share a tender final thought.
They have achieved a level of intimacy that neither thought was possible. And who would have ever thought it was because of sex, lies, and videotape? Sex, lies, and also videotape.
Yeah.
We saw all three of those things. Now, this was a very groundbreaking movie back in '89.
Yeah.
What ground did it break?
First of all, there weren't a lot of people using their home video cameras.
Microcinema didn't exist as a thing.
No.
I also think, and this is the way that cinema breaks ground a lot of the time throughout history, is that they're saying the things that people don't say.
Right.
They're saying things people don't talk about. The idea that a guy is at lunch with this woman he just met and tells her he's impotent. People don't do that.
No.
People don't talk about masturbation to strangers. It gives this automatic authenticity because, well, this isn't done, so the fact that it's being done, it's got to be real.
Yeah, and I'm sure there was a lot of discomfort with audiences because even if you did talk about those things, it was after you got to know someone.
I feel like that's a tactic to get these tapes that he wants. He's so open and honest right away that people see him as this kind of harmless open book. And so they'll tell him their secrets.
He's intriguing because he's so open.
Yeah.
But then he's also a pathological liar.
I was a pathological liar. Or I am.
That was the part of the movie that really confused me. So did he confess to not being impotent? Is that what we're getting here?
Well, if he's a pathological liar, then when he said he was impotent, it must have been a lie.
I don't know. Was he lying about the impotency? That's not clear to me. That scene where they have that long talk, that felt like that was the big important scene of the movie. And that was the scene I felt the least connected to. I was sitting there like, I don't even know what they're talking about.
It didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Do you know the term mumblecore?
Mumblecore rap, right?
It's a film genre as well.
Oh.
One might have gotten its name from the other.
Sure.
Filmmakers like Joe Swanberg and the Duplass brothers. It's called mumblecore. I never understood what that means, but I think I do now because I think this might be the first mumblecore movie. And it's because they're mumbling all the time.
Do you think it's a way to get authenticity? Because generally when people are talking...
They're acting or they're
emoting.
They're using their instrument.
Yeah.
And in this they're just kind of, just talking talking about what's important. Culturally, historically, aesthetically, what do you think?
Culturally?
Yeah?
Culture has shifted since then. Maybe with the advent of social media, people are more open about the things that are difficult in their lives. People's relationships are in the town square.
It's really a snapshot of the culture of the time and this little change that was happening. The fact that you could make these tapes in your house. It's interesting because the videotape is not VHS. No. It's high 8 tapes. And to me, that makes it seem more dated than if it was VHS.
Yeah.
Because high 8 tapes seem to have a much narrower era of use. Seeing those high 8 tapes after all those years, seeing them again. Tapes we used to use. Actually, by the time we were making Chad Vader, high 8 was an obsolete format. We didn't use those anymore. We used mini DV tapes.
Mini DV, and then there was digital 8.
Tape talk, folks. What do you make of the lowercase font of the title? I've always been curious about that.
It's intimate.
Okay.
It's not pretentious. It's not a title as much as it's the thing that the movie's about.
Or maybe the idea that this is a small story about just a few characters. So it's not a big film. It's not a grand film.
Yeah.
The lowercase title makes it seem more lurid.
It does.
And I don't know why.
Somebody with a typewriter who's too busy. They have too much going on to push the shift key down. It's just, that's how they title all of their smut.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a shame we never saw a Garbage Barge.
Well, you can see them on YouTube. Well, Sex, Lies, and Videotape has been rewound and ejected, and now it's time for us to return ourselves to a little feature called Seen It. Say Seen It.
Seen it! Deadpan80 writes, have you seen High Plains Drifter? Not quite a supernatural thriller, but all Western with only a side of spaghetti. Also, Eastwood's second directorial effort.
I believe his first was Play Misty for Me.
Ah.
It was a radio-themed murder mystery. Mm-hmm. It's a very ugly film. It feels like Eastwood wanting to make a Sam Peckinpah movie. He rides into town. Nobody likes him. He kills 3 guys right off the bat. And then this woman runs into him. Get out, you're trash. And he says, I'll teach you a lesson. And he drags her into a barn and rapes her.
Yeah.
And it's not implied. It's not symbolic. You see the whole thing right there.
Yeah.
And that's a shocking moment. What is the purpose of that? It's not merely to be puerile or to be shocking. There's a storytelling point there.
Yeah.
And I feel like it might be, oh, you thought this guy was the hero? He's not the hero. And all these people in this town are obviously not heroes. So this is a movie with no heroes.
Right.
And I also don't know if in Unforgiven, he's basically playing the guy who used to be the guy from High Plains Drifter.
Right. What about Pale Rider? Was Pale Rider also sort of in that same vein?
I think so, yeah.
I remember seeing High Plains Drifter when I was way too young to be seeing High Plains Drifter.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad sending me out of the room when things got,
as he should have.
Yeah. But I remember seeing scenes from the movie. Yeah, Paint the Town
Paint
Red.
the Town Red. Those red buildings, that was the most striking image of the film.
Yeah. I think he was the devil.
Really?
That was my thought when I was a kid. Oh, he's the greater evil.
There's some sort of implication that he's a supernatural being. The ghost of this guy coming back for revenge seems to be the obvious choice, but you think he's the devil incarnate.
Sure.
Okay. Sean Henry, The Little Hours, loosely based on a pair of tales from the Decameron. Seen it.
Seen it.
It surprised me that no one's done this before. This is a story from antiquity, and it's a period piece. But all of the characters speak in modern speech with modern inflection, and they use some modern vernacular. But the movie is completely free of anachronism. It is a true period piece. There's no winking at the camera. Everyone is just playing the straight-up, sincere intentions of their characters. And it's this attention to sincerity that makes for great comedy.
I thought it was funny, but not in a way that was intentionally funny.
I got a lot of laughs out of it, and then in the middle of it, there's this really sweet romance between these two clergy people. It's Molly Shannon and John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
And it's really moving in a way.
Yeah.
That they really have a crush on each other, and they're having this romance even though they have forsaken the sins of the flesh and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a neat movie. It's unlike anything I expected.
Yeah. Therese Livingstone writes, I saw Cowboys and Aliens for the first time, and it sucked. Seen it.
I saw it at the drive-in.
Ooh.
And I enjoyed it a lot more than I would have because I was at the drive-in.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Because some of the scenery in that is really beautiful.
It's a good drive-in movie.
Yeah, a really good drive-in movie.
In fact, I would say that the only reason you should watch Cowboys and Aliens is if you're at the drive-in.
Daniel Craig is good in it.
I liked the way that the ships shot out the ropes to get people.
Yeah,
And
that was
obviously,
cool.
like, they're lassoing people.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat.
I just remember thinking, this either has too much cowboys or too much aliens, or like it needed to have more of one of them, but I didn't know which.
Well, that was Seen It, and we're running a little thin on our Seen It list here. A lot of stuff has been crossed off and talked about. So please, if you think of a movie you want to suggest for Seen It, put it in the comments below, and I will add it to the list. I need some more of them. If you want to go to a place where there are lots of videos to watch, you can go to our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. Our entire back catalog is there, and there are PayPal donation buttons that you can click on with your little computer clicker and make a one-time or rolling monthly donation to support this show. We love people who do that, and you, yes you, could be one of those people. And if you want to see more chat between me and this fellow here, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday. We're going to answer viewer questions. We're going to cut up wise with each other. Cut up wise? That's not a phrase anyone has ever said. You can get tomfoolery like that and more on Unboxing this coming Friday. And now, take a look at this.
Did you masturbate?
God, no. No.
All right, then that's our time.
It just seemed like a dumb thing to do, and God, and then I started worrying that my dead grandfather was maybe watching me, and...
Now you're talking. Come on, tell me more about Gramps.
What if this tape gets into the wrong hands?